YouTube Nation, Man TV, aka Meek TV, aka 41 and huh? Woo! Talk about a game last night. You know what? Hilarious. And I want to play this. I want to start off, all right, with this Eagles-Redskins thing. But after last night, there were some fans who was messaging me from last night to apparently this morning, telling me that the Eagles are overrated and that we got a lucky win last night. Hold on. I want to make something very clear, all right? People who say that the Eagles are overrated, what is wrong with you, all right? No one expected us to win last night. So how are we overrated? I'm trying to figure this out. Even before the game, you Redskins fans were talking to me saying, yo, our Redskins going to kill your team. And I was like, they probably will, because I expected us to lose. I just wanted them to cover the spread. That's all I wanted them to do. I didn't expect them to win. But they went out there and they won. That's what they went and did. And for anyone to say that we're overrated, how is that possible when no one gave us a chance? Hell, even ESPN, the magazine, said we were supposed to lose 41-0. So I want to say, ESPN, look, it's 12:21 right now. I'm trying to figure out, have you fired the guy who made that prediction? Because, I mean, let's be honest here. If it came down to anyone else making outlandish, predictions like this, you wouldn't take them seriously. You are supposed to be a professional network, a professional sports network, all right? But if anyone can make these type of outlandish, predictions, then you might as well just hire anybody, right? I mean, all of us should just line up in the door with our resumes that you can just hire. I mean, hell, you hired somebody who didn't exist once. I mean, come on, ESPN. Right now, you have zero. You know what? You haven't had credibility in a very long time, but still, this makes you look even worse. So whoever did that prediction, yes, it's time to go. It's time for you to lose your job because you don't know what the hell you're talking about, all right? And for ESPN to act like that never happened is just hilarious. And I said that last night, did I not, on Twitter? I said, don't act like it never happened, ESPN. And now, today, they're sitting here saying, oh, well, the Eagles put on a great show. Like, they just tried to smooth it over as if they never thought that that was okay, that they didn't greenlight that 41-0 prediction. I'm telling you, man, ESPN is such a joke. You cannot trust them, all right, when it comes to that. But you can trust certain people that do work at that network who have actual experience in football, and I'll talk about that later. But first, I do want to talk about the Eagles because the Eagles put on a great showing. LaShawn McCoy had, 184 yards total rushing last night? That is an amazing feat in its own. Clearly, he should be offensive player. Of course, he'll only get NFC player, but offensive player of the week after that. I mean, it's just amazing to see that. The offense clicked, and I'll put it like this. Without Jeremy Maclin, mind you, okay? The first drive, we saw what happened. We spotted the Redskins 7 points, whatever. I'm not even going to make a big deal out of it. But if you notice the first two drives, hurry up offense, Redskins secondary and linebackers had no idea what was going on. They looked flustered. They looked confused. They didn't know what the hell to do. And I'm thinking to myself, because I'm talking to you guys on Twitter, I'm saying, this cannot last this long all game. They did it the first half, and people, for some reason, were just like, oh my God, I'm so speechless. I'm so shocked that this is happening. Remember the McNabb era when Andy Reid would use McNabb? They would score 30, 40 points in the first half, and then in the second half, go dead. That's what happened to the Eagles last night, and that is a problem when your defense is pretty much, on the field most of the time because the offense isn't doing anything afterwards. They're playing conservative football, which you should be trying to step on the pedal and keep scoring. Why? Because you want to run the team out of the building. That's what you want to do. You want to make sure when you have a large deficit like this, and anybody who saw the Denver Broncos and Baltimore Ravens game, you keep running up the score because then it only gives the opposing team a certain amount of things that they can do. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Joe Flacco, look what happened when they started running up the score. Guess what? The Baltimore Ravens, they had to throw the ball to get out of the hole. That's what they had to do, and they became predictable. That's what it came down to. And that's what you could have did to the Redskins last night. But you didn't do that, Eagles. No. You gave up 21 points on defense, which is unacceptable, especially that defense. I know a lot of people are saying, well, that secondary is suspect. It is. We have a depleted defense when it comes to that secondary. People should be picking us apart. I'm shocked that they got, 2 picks off of RG3. But then again, RG3 acted like he knew what he was doing anyway out there. He was rusty. And a lot of people are going to sit here and say, oh, well, it's not that, it's just an excuse that he was rusty. Even RG3 himself says it's an excuse.
I think that's an excuse. I'm responsible for the way I play. I didn't play very well in the first half, so it's just the way it is. You move on from it. I'm not going to sit here and say I was rusty. I got to be accountable, and I'm going to be accountable well in the first half. We came back, played better in the second half. We just got to do it for 60 minutes.
Now, as much as I want to credit RG3 for, manning up and taking responsibility, it's not an excuse. It's a fact. You did not play well because you're rusty. You did not play in the preseason. You're coming off of an injury. We've seen time and time again exactly how you are on that leg because he was playing very safe last night. And without RG3 really running, it doesn't open up the offense for him to throw. That's right, unless we're doing play action or, as we all know, the read option. And that's not going to go but so far because the Eagles defense caught on to that as well. Now, I do want to say, in the second half, the Redskins started to come back. I told you Redskins fans, did I not? When you people were waving the white flag, what did I tell you guys? I said, the game isn't over. You still have the second half. The Redskins can adapt. And they did adapt. That's right. Because when it comes down to it, I've said this on video before on how to beat the 3-4 defense. It seems like slowly the Redskins started understanding how to beat it. And that's when they started scoring. And then the Eagles all of a sudden just stopped playing. They forgot what they were doing, it seemed like. All right? But also understand, everyone keeps saying that Michael Vick after the game, he said, oh, we only played, 60% of the speed that we were playing. Nah, I'm not trying to hear that. You want to know why? They can't play that way all season. They can't. You look at the first half. They had hurry-up offense. They were clicking. They threw their opponents off balance. Well, I'm telling you now, other NFL teams are looking at that, last night's game, and they're already game planning to stop that. Understand that. Second half, what happened? We started seeing them in a lot more huddles. Did we not? Because they were tired, they were fatigued, they're slowing down, they're trying to get themselves together. That's what it came down to. So now you have a problem. If you're sitting here saying that we were only playing at 60%, Michael Vick, of the speed, not 100%, but 60% on the first game of the season when your guys are super hyped and not going week after week after week, this is going to become a problem. It's going to slow down. Whether it's the refs that slow Chip Kelly's offense down or the players who can't stay on top of it, there's going to be a problem. There's going to be slowdowns. I'm telling you that now, people. All right? So for everyone that was all hyped, you know what? It's all fine and dandy to laugh and have fun. It was week 1. We won a game that we weren't supposed to apparently win. So I understand why you're hyped, Eagles fans. But understand still, reality is going to set in. So let's not go overboard just yet. Okay? Understand, I'm still sticking with my prediction. They will be at 500 by the end of the year. That's what I'm sticking with, okay? That defense still needs a lot of work. Kerry Williams did a great job. He did more in one game last night than DRC or Asamoah did an entire season, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to give Kerry Williams a pass. But this has got to, there's got to be more consistency. There's got to be more clicking. It was the same thing with the Redskins. I want to keep bringing this up because, like I said, RG3 was sitting here saying that it's not an excuse. No, it's a fact. You were off. You were overthrowing your targets. You were underthrowing your targets. There was times you were throwing in parts of the field where there was nobody there. I thought he was throwing a man to outside his girlfriend. I don't know what's going on with RG3. But you also have to look at the technique of things. And this is why you should listen to John Gruden when he's analyzing quarterbacks.
And here was John Gruden's take on the first half.
Watch his left foot. He's falling away from his throws. He's not finishing his throws. He's up on his toes. I realize there's some rush around him, but he hasn't been around a live rush, Mike. And he's a little bit tentative playing the position. It's the first time he's seen live bullets in a pass rush, and Philadelphia's bringing it.
So Washington fans, you do have a problem right now with your quarterback. And until RG3 lets loose on that, on that leg and see if he can run to open up the offense, there's going to be problems because Morris apparently is having problems holding on to the ball. He is. And it's weird because, this guy had, 1,600 yards last year? I expected so much more, to come from him, last night. I really did. I thought he was going to be a problem, and he really wasn't. But hey, it happens. We saw so many fumbles and turnovers in the NFC alone this week. It's been crazy. But I also want to remind you, Eagles fans, something. Remember a long time ago, I told you in the Andy Reid system that the players were not happy, that they were turning on each other, and we saw it all slowly happen, did we not? Because a lot of you Andy Reid supporters were like, no, you're wrong, you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about, event. And we slowly started to see the players go after each other's throats. We started seeing the players go after the fans. The players were getting what they wanted, but it wasn't equating to wins. And we saw that, being a problem. When you're not winning, morale goes down. And Andy Reid did not check the players at all. We saw that. Then last night, LaShawn McCoy came out and said this.
I gotta say, today is the first that I think a lot of guys in the locker room had fun. we couldn't wait to get back out there to have fun.
Having fun. The first time in a long time. So all you Andy Reid supporters, why don't you just pack up and move to KC? All right? Because apparently everyone's so happy KC beat Jacksonville. I'm wondering, after Jacksonville getting destroyed like that and the Eagles playing really good last night, on the offensive side of the ball, I wonder how Jason Babbitt feels right now. Jason Babbitt. Anyways, I do want to move on to more football. And I want to talk about this because you Redskins fans contacted me last night because this is not me saying it, all right? We saw it, but this is Redskins fans also agreeing. There's way too many times we've seen Redskin players all of a sudden fake injuries to slow down offenses. Are you serious? You're faking injuries now. No, this is something that we've seen also. Anyone who watched the Giants and Dallas game, people were faking injuries. Again, last year we saw it with the Giants faking injuries. All right, look, this is something that is going too far. And for anyone who doesn't know, there is a policy on faking injuries like this to get these timeouts, to slow down offenses so that defenses can get themselves together. No, or even offenses get themselves together. But no, there's a policy in the NFL that does this, that you're not allowed to. And check this out. Not only can you be fined if caught, not the player, but the coach, the ball club can be fined. You can be suspended for faking an injury, and you can forfeit a draft choice. That's right. See, this is the type of rules that you need when it comes down to other sports as well, when it comes to flopping and things of that nature. So the NFL is doing it right as far as I'm concerned. They have it in writing. Now you just have to enforce it. If you enforce it, I'm all for it. Because this is something that doesn't need to happen. And speaking of the Giants, I want to talk about this now. Since the Giants are having problems at running back, they are already having workouts for Brandon Jacobs, Willis McGahee, and McKnight. So already the Giants they're looking to stack up in the running back core. All right? Now, I'll put it like this. Those NFC games this week, it's up for grabs at this point. It's only week 1, but it's up for grabs. It is. Because you can't sit here and tell me that the Dallas Cowboys, I'm sorry, Dallas fans, but that game last night, on Sunday, was a pretender game. It was. The Giants so far look like pretenders. Don't tell me the Redskins, after we beat the Redskins, they were hyped up that they look like they're so great. No, they have problems in the secondary just like us Eagles do. All right? So this right now, this thing is up for grabs. And knowing that's coming up next week, I'll put it like this. San Diego fans, I love San Diego. I've said time and time again, I love San Diego. I've been out to San Diego. I've never had any problems in San Diego. I've always been treated with a lot of love. But next week, you playing us, and we're going to beat you. It's that simple. Especially after the way you played against Houston last night, we're going to beat you. If you can get past our secondary, that's one thing, because our secondary is the main problem of things. But no, San Diego, you should have won last night, and you blew a 21-point lead. A 21-point lead. And I know a lot of people want to say, well, the Eagles almost blew it. Yeah, they almost blew it because they stopped playing. That's what happened. Not because, they just wanted to keep going. No, because RG3 was going to start coming back and start being Superman. No, they just stopped playing, which we've seen time and time again with the Eagles. And this is history repeating itself. We can beat you, San Diego, and I really believe we will. Now, I will be, tailgating on Sunday, which will be great. I think it'll be a great time. Tailgate on Sunday against the Chargers. I also want to say Denver Broncos and Baltimore Patriots, right? Baltimore Ravens. Look, Ravens fans, you got thrashed, but don't get down on your team just yet. They will adjust, all right? It's one game. It was ridiculous to see the way Denver had played. At one point, Baltimore was really giving it to them in the first half, and then the second half, it all fell apart. I don't understand what happened. New York Jets fans, what is going on out there? You guys looked horrible. Yeah, put Geno Smith out there because Mark Sanchez can't do any better, and Geno Smith has pretty much hurt himself while playing. The Jets' offensive line has problems. Their defense is atrocious. I don't know what's going on out there. Rex Ryan, I am shocked, has not been fired already, but it doesn't matter. I want to talk about the Patriots. You almost lost to the Bills with a rookie quarterback. What's going on out there? And on top of it, where the hell's Tim Tebow? Oh, that's right. Last video I did, he was cut. He was cut. So I'll put it like this. Tim Tebow, you better start playing tight end because guess what? You're not going to make it anywhere else in the NFL as a quarterback. Nobody's going to take it. Unless Blaine Gabbert gets hurt, that was your problem, Tim Tebow. You had a chance to go to Jacksonville and take over that spot. Instead, you went to the Jets to be a circus clown. That's what happened. You should have went to Jacksonville and you had yourself a start, but you didn't. That's what happened. But that's your fault. That's you and your agent's fault for not setting that up the right way. If you really thought you were going to come into New York and take Mark Sanchez's job, no matter how bad he played, you're crazy. No way. And you couldn't even make it as a backup on the Patriots. You're done unless you change your position. Because, trust me, everyone else does the same thing. Michael Robinson comes to mind when he had to change his position from quarterback to wide receiver. It's been done. If Tim Tebow doesn't do this and he complains that he wants to be a quarterback, you might as well just go sit down and just say your career is done when it comes to football. Maybe you can find a career doing something else. I mean, you're a nice guy. I really hope things work out for you. But as a football player, you're not that great. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? Now, I do want to talk about the San Francisco-Green Bay game, which was a great game. I still believe that the road to the Super Bowl goes through San Francisco or Seattle, as far as I'm concerned. Green Bay put up a hell of a fight, though. Even though I didn't like, Casey Matthews trying to slap people, and then the coaches are calling him out and saying it's not manly to do when you're slapping people. I'll put it like this. Green Bay, you have Washington next week. That should be a good game. Anybody wants to say it? That should be a great game. That should really test RG3 to see what he can do. The Redskins may start out 0-2. You never know. Green Bay, they're clamoring for a win at this point. So you never know what's going to happen. Also, Tennessee, Pittsburgh. What happened? What happened, Pittsburgh? Tennessee spotted you 2 points from the beginning. And Pittsburgh didn't even do anything. This is something that's very uncharacteristic from the Steelers. I am so used to seeing Steelers football be dominant. What is going on? Seriously, a lot of people are blaming the coach. Mike Tomlinson has, his tenure is over and things of that nature. I don't know what's going on, but Steelers Nation, you better get it together. Seriously, or you will end up 0-2 as well. It's ridiculous. Cleveland Browns, defense is great. I don't know what's going on. The hell, your quarterback? Why is he throwing 3 interceptions? What is going on out there? You better start Jason Campbell as far as I'm concerned. You got to be kidding me. That offensive line also needs to give Brandon Weeden a little bit more time so he can do some things, so he can do some damage as far as I'm concerned. He needs some time. But when he's throwing lasers across and he's pretty much saying, hey, you, out there in the other jersey, take this, there's a problem. You can't get on many quarterbacks. Not that many this week for blatantly throwing interceptions. There was a lot of tips, a lot of bobbles that ended up interceptions. So you really can't get on every quarterback, but there are mistakes being made. There are misreads. There are overthrowing. Like I said, same RG3, what was it, last night? Overthrowing, underthrowing, behind, receivers. You have to get in sync with your wide receivers. You have to. And this is why you need to have a lot of practice, a lot of reps, and a lot of preseason work. This is why. You can't sit on sidelines and not play and then say in the first game, be ready. You can't do that. It doesn't work that way. But that's how the NFL, how the new NFL is working out, it seems like. I don't understand this. I understand RG3 is a star, and he's a great talent, all right? But as far as I'm concerned, he's no Kaepernick. He's no Russell Wilson. No. He has enough weapons around him to win. Actually, if you ask me, I'm sure Washington Redskins fans would probably disagree with me and say, no, he needs more weapons. I could see that. I really could. In the receiver core, I could see that. But you also have to look at your front line, offensive line, and your running back situation. Morris is a great running back, but you need someone to relieve him from time to time that is going to do a great job. And we haven't seen that yet. So I don't know if we should call this week 1 a wash for everyone, unless they won in a dominant fashion. But really, it was a pretty good week. Football is back. It's just the start of things. Like I said, fans, don't get too happy. Don't get too sad. We'll see what happens in the long run. Next week, Eagles fans, we have the Chargers. I think we can beat them. Matter of fact, I'll say it. We can beat them. We will beat them. But they're coming into our house. We have to make sure that everything's cool. All right? Chargers, good luck. Manti Te'o better play because he didn't play last night because of his foot. Man, this guy disappears more. Don't get me started on the jokes. All right? Don't get me started. All right? This should be a good week for football fans. It really should. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. In Tampa Bay, what's going on, man? I'm shocked y'all lost to the Jets. I'm out.